From the John Nevada Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Paranormal Radio with Bob Trisek on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich on Thursday, May the 24th, the year 2018. So sit back and enjoy Paranormal Radio. And now, here is the king of Paranormal Radio, the one and only, Mr. Bob Trisek.
You're adding more to it. Now I'm the king of, now I'm the one and only also too. I suppose everybody is a one and only. There's no two of any of us. Thank you very much, John, for the introduction there. Always have a lot of fun with that. We are back. We've had a little bit of a break here because the last show we did was April 2nd. So it seems like, when you do a show very early in the month, by the time the next month rolls around, it seems like you're away for so long. But we did actually a live, well, not live, it was a taped broadcast from a location. We were at the Irish Legends. We were over there, and thank you to all the folks over at Irish Legends for being so nice to us and hosting that event and doing a great job with that. And I'm actually going to go back there in June 13th. I'm going to go back there and do some palm readings with them and that. So they're a nice bunch of folks to work with. I've been in contact with them. Just a couple of announcements and some thank yous for some people and things I want to do before we announce our guest for tonight. Thanks to everybody from Elsip Park District, the Apollo Park District, came out for the Rose Hill Tour Saturday. That was great. Thank you, folks. We had a real good time with that. Nice bunch of people, great folks to be with, so thank you very much for that one. The folks at the Gathering Lighthouse, thank you very much for that. They hosted an event for me last Thursday. Very nice. We are also going to be at the Gathering Lighthouse doing another tape broadcast from a location there. That will be in July. On July 17th, we'll be over there doing that one. PC Paranormal, Mr. Phil Dankowski with that. Thank you, Phil, for letting me come on your Facebook Live event there. Yesterday we were at Resurrection Cemetery with that one. Phil's doing some good stuff with that, and I've been partnering up with Phil with some events and things, and you'll be hearing more from him. The folks at Graveside Paranormal, they did their Bachelor's Grove event with the Natural Law with the bar over the weekend there, and I kind of joined them for one or two of their tours. No, just one. By the time I got there, they were already coming down the path, and then I hopped on the bus with them, and then we came back again. So thank you to Steve, Neil, Tommy, Mike. I don't know who I missed on their team. Thank you to all of them folks for their doing a good job with that and letting me be a part of that. They're always a fun bunch to be around. Okay. Next, when we do that next show in June, no, that won't be the next one. Next one in June, actually, I forgot to announce, we're going to be doing 2 shows in June. Something I've never done before. We're going to do one show on the paranormal, and that's the one where Pete Crapia is going to come back on. I've had Pete on a couple of times already, and he's a great guest. I like Pete for his openness and his candidness about things, and he pulls no punches, no holds barred with Pete when he comes on the show. That's kind of why I got to get him on here by himself, because I don't want to do a Jerry Springer show with anybody else on with Pete. So he's great. I like Pete a lot as a guest. He has always had interesting stuff to say. So he's going to come on, do a show for us in June. And then the following week, I'm doing another show, entirely different. Absolutely nothing to do with the paranormal. This has to do with drug abuse, with heroin addiction and drug abuse. Went to a presentation at the library, and a lady was there, and I forget, for life of me, I should have had her name with me, but I forget what her name is, and she did a presentation here all about heroin addiction and heroin abuse, and she's really a big advocate for this, because she's had some family that were kind of hooked on this, and she goes around and does a lot of talks about this, and preaching about the evils of it. And then also, too, participating in the audience at this event was a man that is a heroin addict right now. He is kind of, right now, an addict, and he had some things to say about it. And then there was another gentleman that's a recovering addict. He's kind of in recovery from it. And I asked them all to come and do a radio show. So they're going to come on in June and do that show for us, too. So that's kind of neat. I felt that was a worthwhile thing mentioning, and something to do. If you know Paranormal Radio, if you've watched it, from time to time I kind of break the mold a little bit, and I'll do some other things. We get some singers and musicians and some other people on from time to time and that, and we like to do that. I like to try to, if it's, whoever listens to the show, if it promotes them in any kind of a way, that's what we like to do with the show. I like to give everybody a chance to say what they have to say. So much for that. So watch out for some of these events. We'll be putting them up on Facebook and that as we get closer to it. Okay, tonight we have a repeat Paranormal Radio guest, Mr. Dave Olson.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Good. Thank you for coming on, Dave. It's always, like I said, you always come on anytime you want to. And then Dave brought a friend with him, Mr. Matthew Perry.
Hey, Bob. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you. Now, you are a new member of the team, right? With
2 years or
5 years.
Oh, 5 years.
I
Okay.
lost track.
I know it's five, maybe 6.
And what is the team's name?
Chicago Paranormal Investigators.
Oh, that's original. Okay, yeah. Chicago Paranormal Investigators. Okay, I don't know. I had to even ask this one. I should know. Chicago Paranormal Investigators, and
The one and only.
Yeah, and this is Dave's little baby. He's kind of the one in charge of this.
Yeah.
Okay, and how many members do you have right now currently, Dave?
Just a handful. We keep it small, just because we do a lot of residential investigations.
Yeah, okay, it makes sense. I think small groups are a little better anyway. Yeah, even when I do tours, I like to do small groups. I think I'm much better with 10 or 15 people than I am with 20 or 30. I like to do that. It's a little more hands-on and a little more controlled.
And then we have a few, part-timers that fill in when, regulars can't make it due to work.
Oh, that's
or
good.
Vacations.
And that works out nice for some people, because
Right.
some people don't want to do this; they just want to do it occasionally, and that's kind of a good thing too for them. So that gives them an opportunity to do that. So what's the hot thing for you guys lately these days? Where are some of the good investigations and some good stuff going on? You get real good results. Before we did the show today, Dave was showing me some of his photos that he's got on his laptop, which of course we can't use on radio because they're photographs. But he gets some good results.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. Since I started this, at least a handful of full-bodied apparitions. I still can't believe it, but a lot of these photos, I'll take to where I work my side job.
No, not you.
Oh, okay. To the photo lab department and have them look through it. And then times I'll send it to the original manufacturer of the cameras that did the upgrades and let them look at it, and I'll have roundtable discussions. And yeah, I've been very lucky.
Good. Okay, that's what we want to hear. Yeah, you've been very lucky. Part of it I think might be luck with you. Part of it I think just might skill. You have the knack of knowing like where to be at the right time and the right spot and where to put the equipment.
You know what? I think it goes to being a little bit sensitive.
Yeah.
To this. So yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of things. Yeah. Now you've been with them. Well, you've been with them for some time, longer than I thought. I thought you were kind of new to the group, Matt.
Yeah,
so
I lost track, to be honest.
Yeah. So you've been with them for a while. So you've been on a lot of these investigations with them, right?
I would say most of them.
Okay.
I've missed a couple of them, but most of the big ones I've been on.
Okay, so you're around when all these things are happening and that, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys also get good, not only results with the camera visuals, you get some good voice recordings too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I go through them. Oh, I can't tell you. It takes me, I just won't take one as an EVP. I'll match it up with everything we have, every single camera we have going, see where everyone is, to every other voice recorder we have going, and I'll match everything before I put it out there.
What I like about you is you seem to work not only with the equipment, also with a medium. And then you're kind of a sensitive yourself too with this. So I like that because it seems like so many of the groups now like to work with the electronic gadgets and the voice recordings and EVPs and all that. But as far as like an actual medium, they don't really have a medium with them. And I like that idea that you have that. Do you find you get better results with the medium or with the electronic devices?
You know what? I have to say, I think we get good results with the mediums because they let us know where they're feeling stuff. And, at times while we're setting up all the equipment, we'll do a walkthrough with them and they say, Dave, I'm really feeling something in this room, or don't waste your time here. So we'll try to hit all the hot spots that they recommend. And then everything else we'll just save for when we go portable, and do the walkthrough.
Yeah.
But, I wish I had a medium every single investigation, but one lives 4 hours away. The other one just moved to Arizona, and her business is good here, so she's going to fly in maybe for a week.
Who's your Arizona medium?
Susan, what?
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Wait, no, give me a second.
I don't know Sue anyway, but I had somebody else in mind that's an Arizona person, but it's not
can't
Susan.
think of her name? Roland. Thank you very
Susan
much.
Roland. Oh, yeah, she's the one that
kill
does,
me.
she does like a radio thing or something, doesn't she? Do a radio show?
Yeah, she's been on TV.
Yeah.
She's been on Windy City Live.
Yes, I found it when I looked on your Facebook page. I found her name pop up on there. So yeah, okay. So we hear her. She's around.
She's very talented.
Yeah, she's around. We're going to bring somebody else into the conversation now too. We have with us via phone. I guess he's up in Waukegan, so Rich was unable to come into the studio, but we got him on phone. And this is Mr. Rich Hale. Rich, hi, are you there?
Hi, yeah, hey. It's Rick. Sorry.
Oh, Rick, I'm sorry. I put Rich on the thing. I can't read my own writing here. So Rick Hale.
Yeah.
Okay. Hale, the gang's all here. No, you're only one, so you're not a gang. Let me read a little bit about Rick. I have never met Rick. I've contacted him through Facebook. We've conversed that way, but I've never met him face to face. So this is kind of a first meeting for me too. We're actually talking in person here as opposed to just typing back and forth. Just a little bit of his biography, some of the stuff that he does. Rick Hale, a Chicago native. He's been in pursuit of the unknown for his entire life. You haven't. That's kind of a lie. You haven't been for your entire life because you're still with us. You haven't passed away yet. So your whole life's not over yet. So Rick is also the author of Geek's Guide to the Strange and the Unusual, Poltergeists, Ghosts, Demons, and Behold, Shocking True Tales of Terror and Some Other Spooky Stuff. Sounds like you like kind of a humorous touch to some of your things that you write.
I try to keep the titles humorous because I think that I think that will attract people rather than being, serious.
I'm glad to hear that from you. So that means I'm on the right track because I'm doing the same thing. I'm working on a book right now. I don't know how far this is going to go. I've never written a book. I've never had anything published. Never done that. But I'm doing pretty good at this, and I'm getting some encouragement from some people. And same thing with me. I've got all humorous titles and humorous chapter titles too. Okay, let me finish your biography here. Rich, you've also been published by Paranormal Underground magazine. Now, we were talking about that earlier. I mentioned it to Dave and to Matt here, and I'm sorry to say we haven't heard of it. Not that I know everything. I've never heard of that magazine. Is it like an internet magazine type thing?
Yeah, it's paranormalunderground.net.
Gotcha,
and
okay.
It's been around for about 10, 12 years now or so.
Oh, well, I've been around for 60, but like I said, I still never heard it. Anyway, okay, the supernatural, but like I said, I don't know everything. There's a lot of things out there I'm not aware of, so, okay, the supernatural magazines, and you've been on other online, so it's an online publication. You've also been featured in Ghost Tapes 2 and several episodes of Ghost Tapes the series. You didn't make it quite there for one. You missed one, but you made it on Ghost Tapes 2.
Yeah.
Now, what exactly is Ghost Tapes?
Ghost Tapes 2, it was put together by a filmmaker named Luke Millett. He now lives out in Colorado.
Okay.
But yeah, with him it happened kind of by accident. I knew that he was from the area, and I had invited him to accompany myself and the psychic medium that I was working with at the time. Her name was Nancy Laporta, to go to a house investigation, and he accepted, and he showed up and had me fill out a bunch of paperwork and was like, "Oh, you want to be in a documentary, don't you?" I'm like, "That's not why I invited you here, but sure, why not?"
It's kind of nice when these things happen accidentally. Hopefully you were dressed nice, you had your hair done and everything, you looked presentable.
Always professional on occasion.
Yeah, because you never know when these things are going to happen. That's I was just telling Dave, our guest tonight, because Dave, when he comes to the studio, he likes to set his, which other folks have done that too. They set their camera up and they like to videotape their appearance here in the studio and that, which is wonderful. I think that's a great thing. It's good publicity for them. It's good publicity for us, and it makes for a nice souvenir. But I said, I got to start dressing a little better. I always forget that because I think we're on radio, so I don't have to dress up. I could just wear a crummy T-shirt and some sweatpants or something.
At least
I'm
you have
fine.
pants on. At least you
Yeah.
Or really nothing at all, if you so choose.
Yeah. Because sometimes I'm seen on these things too, so yeah. So that's it. Okay, Rich. Do you know, I don't know if you know Dave Olson, who's with us tonight?
I don't. Hi, Dave. And
Hey,
I didn't
nice
get
to meet
his
you.
name.
And then Mr. Matt Barry's here also too.
Hey, Rick.
Matt. Okay. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Excellent.
Good. So now, do you have a team yourself, Rick, or no? You just more an individual?
When I tell people my team name, I go by Foundation's Psychical Research. I keep it kind of on an old-fashioned edge.
What was that? Foundation's Psychological Research?
Foundation's Psychical.
Psychic. Oh, is that a word?
Psychical. Well, it's what parapsychologists called themselves before they called themselves parapsychologists.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, they called themselves.
Were you aware of
psychical
this?
researchers.
No.
No, I wasn't either. Yes,
Ah,
I'm learning
learn
something
something
new.
every day.
Yeah,
Yep.
psychical. I didn't even know psychical was a word. I think we.
Well,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Well, you had the Society for Psychical Research
Uh-huh.
in Great Britain, and you used to have the American Society for Psychical Research. And since my education, no, I shouldn't really use the word education, but, since my research is always kind of geared more towards parapsychology rather than, pop ghost hunting, I guess you could say, I can't really call myself a parapsychologist because I don't have an advanced degree in something that's related to that, so I use the much more older term of psychical research. But I don't really have a team at the moment. When I went through cancer and all that, I had to kind of put that stuff off to the side so I could get myself better.
Oh, I see. You had some health issues there. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad to hear you're better. Okay, great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, glad to hear that.
So I'm hoping that I can find, good, quality people that are trustworthy, that believe in professionalism, and know what they're doing and know what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them out there. There really are. You have to do a little looking for that. The gentleman that we've got here on with us tonight, case in point, no doubt about it. They're very serious investigators, very sincere about what they do, and they do it with good results. And
thank you.
That's kind of people we like to see around. I've always said this, and will continue to say it. I said parapsychology, of course, is recognized as a science. Paranormal, as of yet, is not. I think down the line, time to come, paranormal will be recognized as an actual science, an actual study where you're able to get degrees on this. I went up online today, and just for the fun of it, I was punching up paranormal investigating, getting certified in the paranormal. And there are like a whole slew of people. I know. There's a whole slew of people up there that will certify you. You send them the $59, and you can take these online courses, and you get a little certificate that certifies you. I don't know. Not to discredit anybody or anything, but I don't know if this is exactly the way I'd want to go about doing it.
I think I just got a new website idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're out there with that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When I look at those websites, I kind of just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And, it's not something that I would be interested in. And you also got the one too that's like, become a demonologist in 6 months. It's like, oh my God, no, that's not how it works. But all right, it's your jam, man. So have at it.
Yeah, and I often wonder, is this something that can actually be taught? Can you teach someone to be a demonologist, or is it just like a gift? Just like psychic abilities. Well, some psychic abilities can be developed, but sometimes I think it's people have it or they don't. And some people could be taught maybe to take it the next level up. Other ones I don't know. Yeah. Dave has gotten some very good results just to kind of change the... Oh, I'm sorry, you had something to add to that.
I was just going to say, the word demonology is kind of a misnomer. In the Catholic Church, it's actually called angelology. Demonology was a occult science back in the Middle Ages. About it belonged up there, in black magic with necromancy, and people just sort of have globbed onto the term demonology because of the trendiness of it.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought demonology referred to all the nuns that taught me when I went to Catholic parochial school. I thought they
I know, right?
I thought that was demonology. Yeah. If you ever went through that experience, you know what I'm talking about. Whole different experience now, but 50, 60 years ago it was quite different. Dave has gotten some very good results in his research and his stuff that he does with his team, with Matt and whoever else he has that joins him on his team. And he's kind of picky about his people. He doesn't just allow anybody in there because he's a very serious person about this too. And well, go ahead, Dave. Tell him a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
You know what? Before I take someone full time on the team, I'm a police officer for Chicago, and Matt's a fireman. So I take it really serious. If I don't trust him in my own house, I'm not going to put him in someone else's house, and the liability of that. And last thing I want is a criminal or something. I don't want to destroy someone's house, make it worse. So I take it very serious, and on who's on the team, and I really got to be able to trust them in my own house if I'm going to put them in someone else's house.
What about you, Rick? Any criminal record for you, or what? Since I really don't know you.
People often make mistakes, but
we can find out. I've got a police officer sitting right here. We can do a check on you. So
you know what? You can check on me all you want. I am cleaner than a preacher's sheet. But something.
That's what I said too. I said I'd be so boring they'd find nothing on me. So.
But Dave, I really like that approach, because our job as ghost hunters, paranormal investigators, parapsychologists, whatever you want to call it, our job is not to scare people unnecessarily.
Exactly.
But it's to educate them and enlighten them that what they're dealing with is not necessarily a bad thing. And I tell people that this kind of research and this kind of investigation is for the most serious of minds. And I totally dig what you're saying there.
I feel wholeheartedly when it comes to that. It's very important to me.
That's good. I'm glad we got 3 people, 4 people, actually, if you include myself in this group, that are all kind of thinking the same way. Matt,
Yes.
we haven't had too much to say here. We got to get you in the conversation. What brought you into the paranormal? How did you start getting involved in this?
I was always interested in it, starting with, actually probably more so with all the popularity of the TV shows.
Oh boy, you're one of them. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I always had, until it was more kind of mainstream, and then I started really thinking that I'd like to get involved in it or some way or another, and I met Dave on kind of accident.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how we met.
I was out, like he said, I'm a fireman for Chicago. We were out shaking the boot and collecting money for one charity or another. I can't remember what it was. And Dave drives up with his blue command center ambulance, and he had a police shirt on. So I asked him what he did, and kind of long story short, later on I sent him an email. He got back to me, and I don't know, within a few months I was probably going on an investigation with him. So it was kind of funny how it happened, but I kind of came into the whole thing more skeptical, and take everything with a grain of salt.
Which is needed.
Yeah, until I actually see a couple different pieces of evidence all kind of proving the same thing. So, but since I've been on the team, I've seen we've gotten some interesting results, which still skeptical, but
So it's encouraging, and it's something that you want to do further and take to the next level.
Absolutely.
Because you're, okay, good,
yeah,
great.
something just kind of keeps
Good.
you.
I'm glad that the shows, see, for you now, they served a good purpose. So, see, these shows aren't all bad. These ghost hunter shows and things. People ask me this all the time, do I watch them? And no, I don't. I do catch them occasionally, glimpse them here and there, and I have nothing against them. I have a very good reason for not watching them, that being I just don't have cable. And 90% of these are all on cable TV, so I just don't get to see them. But when I have caught them and stuff like that, they're kind of okay in that. But I always tell people, please don't misunderstand. You're not going to go out and in 1 hour's time get all this great stuff. And a lot of the stuff that they do on these shows is actually set up for the show too. So what you're seeing often is not real. But if it does, like someone like yourself, Matt, you watched us, you got interested in it through that. So if it does bring somebody into it and it gets them interested in it, that's okay. That's a good thing. Just so they're not misled, though, by the show. So you've been doing the investigation, so you see what's involved. And you see how it actually goes. So, yeah. Rick.
Yes.
What brought you into the paranormal? Let's go back to the beginning with you. Or it just was something that was always around you?
Yeah, when I was 8 years old, I grew up. Okay, sorry, my wife was talking to me. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I grew up between. My parents were divorced, so I grew up between Lake County and the northwest side of Chicago, and my grandparents lived in Franklin Park on Belmont Avenue, kind of like right across the street from the swimming pool, but the building's no longer there. So what a little background there. But when I was 8 years old in 1982, I witnessed and interacted with an apparition in my grandparents' home.
Okay.
And we all knew that the house was haunted. Pretty much everybody has had some experience with. And we knew who it was. It was Mrs. McNett. Everybody had an experience with Mrs. McNett. She was the wife of the.
No, I'm joking.
of the owner of the building. She had died about 15 years previous to that. And but as far as I know, my grandmother and I are the only two people that had ever actually seen her.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, see, it was kind of the same thing with me. A lot of experiences and things I had that, I just had no explanation for, things happening like that. And then what was really a big thing for me getting into it was my brother Ray. Way back, like 1970, 71, he took a parapsychology class, sort of like a fill-in for a degree he was working on out at the university. He took a parapsychology class, and he would drag me around, and we would, research these things. Went to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, Resurrection Mary, all these things. I grew up with this. Probably one of the first ghost stories I heard was Resurrection Mary from my parents, mother and father and neighbors, because I lived in the Summit Argo area, not too far from Resurrection Cemetery, and so it was like one of the first stories I said. So then later on, as I got older, I started looking into these things and investigating them and taking it to the next level. Is there any basis to these stories? What's the urban legends? What's true? What's not true? So that's kind of what did it for me that way. And then some experiences myself, things I just could not explain. And same thing with me, too. The home I lived in Summit, that I lived in for 58 years, Up on the second floor, there was a ghost that I had up there, Mrs. Frosty, who I don't have legitimate actual proof that it is her, but I narrowed it down to her because she actually died up there. Because we used to have a little apartment up there we rented, and her and her husband lived up there. And over the Easter, on Holy Saturday, matter of fact, the one year, I remember she passed away up there. And occasionally when I'd be in the house there by myself, I would hear footsteps walking from the bathroom to the bedroom, back and forth. And I always go up and check and see if I could see anything up there. Never could see hiding her hair over, but I always heard her up there. So, yeah, same type of thing.
Wow.
Yeah. See, we've all had those experiences. So it all kind of drew us to it, yeah.
Yeah, with me, it was not that I saw anything, but I would feel, the feelings like I get now, but as a kid, I couldn't understand them, and I would hear disembodied voices, and I know I'm not going nuts, thank God, because now I could get on recordings, when I hear them, but I'd hear...
You might be a little nuts.
Well,
I would hear my name being called, and I remember waking up my mom and say, Mom, I hear muffled conversations in the room. Could you sit down?
Well, you're a medium yourself.
To be honest, I don't know what I am.
You're a medium. I think you're a medium, but you don't maybe... I don't know if you really recognize it, or you don't want to... Maybe something's holding you back from actually saying, I'm not. Maybe you just say... Maybe that's what I'd say. I think he is, too, because I think he's just saying he's sensitive to be polite, but I think you really are a medium.
Sometimes it really takes a hold on me. I wears my body out sometimes.
Yeah, that's a medium. Yeah, it can be draining. Yeah, it can. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. What about you, Matt? Are you a medium, a large, or an extra large, or what?
I'd rather not say.
Okay.
No, I don't think I don't have the feelings like the rest of some of our team does, and I've had experiences on investigations, pushed, and not like Dave. Everybody likes to scratch Dave for some reason. And
yeah, he has
nice. I'm not provoking.
Yeah, he has this knack for being touched. Yeah, how do you feel about that? That's a good question to ask about provoking spirits on investigations.
I would never, especially in someone's house or business. The last thing I want to do is make things.
See,
worse.
That's where I agree wholeheartedly. And I can't tell you how many people I've had these paranormal teams on this show and privately talk with it at, and they say, "Oh yeah, we just to get them going, we'll provoke them." And that. And I says,
if it's a prison,
such a good idea,
a jail or something like that. Maybe even maybe a psych ward. Maybe we'll turn the pot a little bit. We usually bring I'll bring some uniform pieces. From old uniform shirts, nightstick, and like we were at the
Lake
Crown
County.
Point, Lake County Crown Point Jail, and that really got it going.
Okay, so it did work then.
Just hitting a nightstick along the cells.
Oh, maybe it's like a sound that they're something they would have recognized.
The handcuff sounds, and just maybe saying I'm the new boss here now. We're taking over, and we got some good reaction.
We were a little.
See, to me, that's a
less
little
polite.
Yeah,
normal.
Otherwise, no one's. I'm never going to do that in someone's house.
Yeah, I don't think I'd even do it over there. I think to me, I think that's a little bit kind of dangerous behavior. But everybody different. Right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's why you've been scratched and pulled and hit so much and all this.
When it happens, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But the one that scared me, really got me nervous and thinking twice was when I went to Appleton, Wisconsin, walked in. It was a psychic medium's house. And something ripped me open on the left side of my face 20 seconds after walking the house. And then it got me again about 2:30 in the morning. But it was burning, but it was welts that just formed in front of everyone's eyes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You ever had any experiences like that, Rick?
With provoking?
Yeah.
Provoking is just not something that I think is a good idea.
Yeah, ditto for me. I just don't think it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I tell a lot of people who are new to the field that when you do something like that, not only is it crude behavior, but you don't really know who you're dealing with. Take for example, you're in a house where they're seeing like a woman who's dressed in 18th century clothing, and she just sort of like appears for a couple of minutes and then she disappears.
Right.
Now, if you go into that and you go into that investigation with guns blazing and you're using swear words and you're calling out, a woman from the Victorian era is not going to talk to you.
I agree.
Or if you have a child spirit, that child is going to run away because, let's face it, that's child abuse.
Okay, yeah, I see your point, and I kind of agree with it wholeheartedly. Everybody has their own methods and their own way they like to do things, and if they like to just use this on certain occasions or whatever, okay, fine, everybody to their own, each to their own. I mean, there's a lot of them out there doing this, but myself, I kind of tend to agree, no, that you don't, that's something I would not want to do. I wouldn't talk to a person that way, disrespectfully, let alone to anyone else, but,
Exactly.
some people feel that's what they have to do to get results, so, we're going to take a break, John?
Yes.
Okay, we have to stop for just a moment, gentlemen, and take a break. It's very quick. It's only about a half a second. We'll be right back. Please come back with us and listen to the rest of Paranormal Radio.
You are listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trisek from the John Liveter Broadcast Center on Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich on Thursday, May the 24th, the year 2018. And this is Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich, Illinois. And now back to Paranormal Radio and the king of Paranormal Radio, Mr. Bob Trisek.
Now I get it twice. I get it at the beginning of the show, and then I get it during the break. I get the king of Paranormal Radio. Sort of a little running joke that we've got going here, and it's actually starting to catch on. Just in case you're just tuning into the show, or if you sped up your dial on the station on YouTube or wherever on the Windy City Network, or you happen to be listening to this show, the guest we have with us this evening is Mr. Rick Hale, Mr. Dave Olson, who's been with us before, and Mr. Matthew Perry. Not the Matthew Perry from Friends, another Matthew Perry entirely.
Much better looking one.
Yeah, I think you had the name before he did, didn't you? Or?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you're not. So you're not the original Matthew Perry then?
No, maybe not. Probably
not
not
the original. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at, and we're just kind of chit-chatting back and forth about paranormal and different aspects of it, and different things to do on investigations, provoking, not provoking spirits, this sort of thing like that, and how everybody got started into the field, and just kind of drumming back and forth. That's what we're doing with that.
No, I agree when it comes to. I don't believe really in provoking, because especially if it's someone's house or business, at one time it was someone's mother, father, son, daughter,
absolutely,
grandfather. It's. You're right. We try to be very respectful when it comes to that.
I feel the same way at cemeteries too, because those people, the same thing. I says, the person that you're saying is a spirit or an entity or a ghost or whatever, that was someone's brother, someone's mother, someone's father, someone's loved one, someone's best friend, whatever. Any one of 1,000 different things it meant to somebody. So you want to act respectfully to everybody.
We get a lot of recordings, and it seems like several voices saying "help me" from the other side on every case we do. And sometimes we get outs too.
Are you ever able to take it to the next level though, and find out how you can help them, if there's anything you can do for them?
See, that's where the medium
exactly. That's why I think you get better results with the medium.
Willing, as long as they're willing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I could, at least yet. I don't think I could do it myself. I don't know if I could.
Has it ever worked for you though? Have you had a medium ever with the team and said, okay,
yes.
Someone here is calling for help, and let's see what we can do for them? And has it worked?
Usually,
to the best of your knowledge,
they'll come back the next day. We'll set up a time where the medium comes back, because she doesn't want to wreck our investigation. But for instance, I think we talked about it once before. Is the Downers Grove case that the murder? I think it was in 2013, where the father got fired from work and killed his family, his 2 daughters, his wife, and himself. And we got evidence of him being there, of we believe the mother's voice and one of the daughter's voices. But usually during an investigation, I'll shut down my phone. So when the medium did a walkthrough, she was amazing. This was Susan Rowland.
Okay.
The father followed her home. Well, the father was there at the beginning, and he just went nuts and was sorry for what he did, and he didn't move on because he believes he's going to burn in hell for what he did. And
where's he at now? Did you remember where he was?
Well, she later that day, she kept on leaving me messages, because the followed her home. The mother then approached her at her house and said, "We want to move on together. We forgive him." And so she went back there the next day and moved the whole family on, and supposedly the only one that gave her a hard time moving on was the youngest daughter, was scared.
Okay.
But the house is 100% different.
Okay, so then something definitely did happen here.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I'd be very interested to know, like he said, he was afraid of being in hell, for the rest of his life. Was he in hell at that time, or was he just sort of somewhere kind of in limbo and, awaiting his sentence?
That's what it sounded like. I mean, I can't say 100% sure, but that's what it
so
sounded like. He never went on.
Maybe there is something to purgatory then. Yeah, maybe there is, yeah. Okay. Because that's something I've never really quite believed in, growing up Roman Catholic myself, the whole idea of a purgatory. Because I can remember as a kid, like, saying prayers for the souls in purgatory, and I would ask, like, well, when do you know when you've said enough that they're actually released? Right. And now I think the church's belief is that they don't have it anymore. They decided this. I mean, but it could be now if the man, something like this, where he's there and he's not quite in hell but awaiting sentence, and he wanted to correct things or get forgiveness for this before he actually wound up there. Okay.
Yeah, and in cases like that are very important to me. If I can. I'd like to help both sides, the living.
So it helped the people on the other side as well as people
if
here.
I can, yeah.
Okay, good.
That means a lot.
Ouija boards, Rick. How are you with those?
You know what? It's kind of hard to fear something that sits on a shelf right between Monopoly and Chutes and Ladders.
Okay. So you don't think there's anything to them? Okay.
Well, no, I'm not going to say that.
Uh-huh.
But what I am going to say is that I think that a lot of what we have today is urban legend. Like, okay, one of my favorite stories was from a couple of years ago. It was about a girl in Mexico who was playing with a Ouija board, and then she was spontaneously possessed, and they had to come and take her to the hospital. She broke free from from being strapped down, and proceeded to beat the hell out of the ambulance technicians. Now that sounds like, oh my goodness, this is a person that was playing with the Ouija board and then suddenly they're possessed. But what the article failed to tell you was, before she played with the Ouija board, she had ingested a boatload of hallucinogenic drugs.
Oh, gee. Oh. Well, they might have had a little bit to do with it, yeah.
Exactly. So it's like I think that with Ouija boards, I think that we have a ton of urban legend. However, at the same time, there are people that I do trust and that I do know, and colleagues of mine, who have used Ouija boards and will swear by them. But my question and I have this for all of you guys, doing a Ouija board session, do you think that is the same thing as, say, doing an EVP session or using one of those K2 meters? You're still trying to communicate.
Right, you're inviting them.
But the medium is different.
Communicate.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that was the same thing. The equipment that we use is just like one big, giant Ouija board.
Hello?
You there?
Hello?
Did we lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Okay, yeah. Can you hear us?
Hello?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right.
No, I was just saying.
Some weird interference.
Yeah,
okay.
Okay, I was just saying that all the equipment that we do use. Yeah, you're right. It is kind of like similar to using a Ouija board. It's just a way, a means to an end to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. For some reason though, it's in my head. I will not touch a Ouija board. I never did. I don't want one in my house.
No,
I'd rather be safe than sorry. But yeah, when you really think about it, a lot of the equipment we do use is probably very similar to that, where you're inviting whatever's there to, communicate or go into your equipment and,
Yeah,
right.
I kind of tend to agree with Dave on that with the Ouija. I don't fool around with the Ouijas, and I really recommend other people don't do them either. I think too many people are taking them as just a board game that's sold at Toys R Us, because I worked for them for 24 years, and I can vouch for how many people just come and buy them, with the other Parker Brother board games. But what I found with Ouijas, now, Rick, it sounds like maybe you're working with some people that know a little bit more about them, and they're a little more familiar with it, and maybe they can have some control over it. But I know things that have happened with Ouijas where they've actually brought some things in and then opened up some portals and couldn't get rid of them, where they wouldn't have been doing this if they weren't fooling around with this thing. So I think there's a little more to them than just some little toy thing, something like that. I think, my belief. And no, I don't fool around with them. I really don't like them. Yeah.
Just to be safe, every piece of equipment we use, my truck, everything, and even ourselves after an investigation, we'll sage ourselves, all the equipment, the ambulance, everything, and say protection prayers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dave
actually has a ghost mobile, a Ghostbusters mobile. He calls it Misty.
Yeah,
he does.
Cool.
He does.
It's just a converted ambulance. We had something similar with the police department that was our mobile command center that all the camera feeds would come to it, and I'm like, damn, that would be such a good thing, because I had an enclosed trailer I used to pull around 6x12, and then it's long enough to set up the gear, from 3 to 5 hours, at an investigation, and this, not having to use the trailer and set up tables and stuff, that saved me a couple hours right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hoaxes in the paranormal. Just something I want to talk about a little bit too. Hoaxes in the paranormal. What I'm kind of seeing a lot of trends now, in there again, not to disrespect anybody, there's a lot of good stuff out there, there's a lot of bad stuff out there, there's a lot of so-so stuff out there. But what I tend to be seeing now, in the last few years in particular, a lot of invented haunts. People are they're buying like an old warehouse building, they're buying a closed-down hospital or asylum or whatever it is, and they're renting them out. They bought this building, they're renting them out to investigations, they're renting them out to people, that it's haunted. And I think a lot of this is created haunts. I don't think every building that you walk into, or every abandoned building for that matter, is haunted. I don't think they are.
I agree.
But it seems to be kind of a trend that's going on now with the paranormal, and you've got some folks out there are making a ton of money on this. And that, and, of course, some of the other thing that goes on out there, too, some of the fake photos and fake DVPs and all this other stuff that's been around since the dawn of time when people first knew that there were ghosts. But what I think what this does is actually sets the field back. Like we talked earlier about it, making it a legitimate field in a recognized science and a recognized study. When these things come out and these hoaxes are exposed, I think it sets things back. People tend to laugh at this and say, see, you guys are all full of a bunch of hooey, and that's what it does with that. So I don't know what anybody else's views are on those things.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you that invented, but I mean, usually there's some stories or legend that kind of go back a ways to actually for someone to use this warehouse or this school or whatever for a haunted. They don't just like make up stories themselves. I don't think that would be
like
possible to get things. Yeah, like
know?
Brumner Mansion and the Lake County Jail that we did, and these are things where people have had experiences, and now that it's a vacant building, now they're kind of allowing people in. But on the other hand, when you allow people in and then turn it into like a party where everybody's kind of drinking and having a good time rather than doing what they're supposed to be there.
That's what I say. I think that's what I think a lot of this ends up turning out to be. And some folks even that join paranormal might be joining it for those reasons too, just for the sake of a fun group, which it's fun, it's interesting, and it's great, and it's a wonderful social thing in that. But if this is
place for everything,
exactly, and if this is what's bringing you into it, I think you're kind of in the wrong thing here. You maybe should start a mahjong club or something. I don't know, whatever. I don't know, a book club or whatever. Yeah, this may not be the thing for you. I don't want to sound like a prude about it, but I just don't think that's the way to go with it. And then my other thing is too. All right, if there is some legitimate activity going on in this, why does somebody feel the need to charge people to investigate this? I don't know if that's exactly the thing I'd like to go with too, because you do have some folks out there making quite a lot of money, charging some pretty hefty prices to some of these teams to go in. And then my second question is, all right, say you do send a team in, and they bring their equipment in, and they bring the recorders in, and then nothing turns up. Do you get your money back? Is it refund because we didn't actually get anything? Or do you just say, well, it wasn't our night? Or, how does this all work?
Everyone tells me I should try to turn this into a business because I'm thousands and thousands of dollars in the hole. I don't know if I could ever recover. I hope my wife's not listening. But, they're like, well, you should turn it into a business. How do you do, how do you turn it into a business?
Well, there's legitimate ways you could do it more, turning it into a business. One would be through tours. Giving tours and taking people on tours and explaining to them what haunted locations and things that have been known to go on there. Not necessarily promising that they're going to see any ghosts, but nonetheless taking there, explaining the locations, telling them some things that may have occurred there, which goes on all the time. There's many people. I give tours myself on this stuff. Other thing too is about simply lecturing and explaining and maybe demonstrating what you do and showing people, about that.
It's for investigating someone's house. How do you put a charge to it? You can't.
No, well, you wouldn't demonstrate an investigation in someone's house.
Right,
you would investigate the equipment that you use and techniques involved and things like that way. So I think there's other ways you can make money on it without
right, I gotcha.
That way.
What Bob, what I just wanted to say is I think that there needs to be a disconnect between the tourism part of it, which and again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I've been on ghost tours before, and I found them very entertaining as well as educational. But I think that there needs to be a disconnect between what is tourism and what is actual research and investigation.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Yes.
and it's fine that people. Hey, if you're willing to go to say Waverly Hills and you want to pay their amazingly exorbitant prices that they, excuse me, that they charge there, that's fine. But I mean, like for me, I would rather go to somebody's house that is experiencing something truly inexplicable and help them deal with that.
It's always
That's
good.
what we do.
Yeah, I always say it's always good knowing to kind of go into something not knowing. When you go into a thing and know there's all right. Say for instance you have a location. I say okay, there is some activity here, and that's all you know. Perfect. But when you start hitting specifics, okay, we're seeing a grandmotherly type woman here. We're seeing a little girl in a white dress. We're getting apparitions of a dog and all these different things. I think when you have this in your head, you kind of have a mind over matter type, but you have a way of kind of making some of this stuff happen psychologically. When you go in not knowing it, I think that's the best way to do it. And like I said, too, with the tours and stuff like that, I agree to. Like I said, I do some tours with folks and stuff like that. But there is a distinction between okay, this is entertainment, and this is telling you what goes on here and there, but this is not a serious investigation. And some of this is also starting to cross the line too, because now on a lot of these tours, what they're doing is they're bringing equipment, and they're making people believe that okay, you're on the Ghost Adventurers here, and you're doing investigations and this. If it's just a way of explaining the equipment and showing how it works and something, that's okay. That's one thing. But I think sometimes people are being led to believe that there's actually going to be some ghosts and some things happening on these tours, and that's kind of the wrong way to go with that too. If something does happen, wonderful, that's great. But just so they're kind of clear on it that no, this isn't always going to happen. Just an opinion.
What are your beliefs, if you don't mind me asking, on when it comes to demonic?
Are you talking to Rick?
Yes.
Okay.
Or anyone here, to be honest.
You know what? I don't touch religious-based phenomena, only because I don't feel that I don't think that I'm the person to deal with it. I think that the clergy or your clergy or church of choice should be the the people to deal with that. But the thing that does bother me is that it seems to be everywhere. It seems that anybody who experiences, and you see it on television a lot too, and you see it in people's homes, you see where a lot of people are like, this spirit or this poltergeist, which is not exactly a haunting in the strictest sense. They're like, well, this spirit is unpleasant, so it's automatically a poltergeist, and it's like, that's not how it works.
Right.
But as far as demons are concerned, I'm not a religious person. I'm not an atheist. I'm just not a religious person. So I don't think that I'm the person to deal with religious-based phenomena. I'm more interested in psychic ability, human potential, and human consciousness.
Okay,
Gotcha.
very
Okay,
candid
very
and very honest. Okay, thank you for your honesty there. Yeah, okay. Good opinion, yeah. Matt, any particular views on any of that?
I'd be open to it if we came across it. Not that
I keep an open mind.
Yeah, open mind.
I've honestly, I think it's possible,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never had a case other than one that I never got to handle that actually opened my eyes thinking, okay, now it's possible. Because I remember after...
What's possible? That it's an actual demon or a demon
Yeah,
possession?
I'm curious. I'm going to explain a little bit, and I don't want to take up too much time, but
Go ahead,
I'm
take
still
all
in
the time you
shock.
need. Yeah.
I never got to handle the case. Something kept on blocking us from me getting the address and everything else, but it was Chicagoland area, and it was a professional. I'm not going to give any names, but it was a person you can trust.
Okay.
House.
A credible person.
Yeah, credible
Okay,
person.
okay.
Yeah. And the husband wanted nothing to do with it. The wife was calling. Ever since they did construction, night terror started, screaming bloody murder. I heard the recordings of it. She played over the phone. Seen doctors. They couldn't find anything wrong with him. Never, always has the night terrors and stuff at the house, never at work or other locations.
Now, this was one of the people that lived in the house that was
Yes,
getting this?
Yes.
correct.
Was this the husband?
Yes.
It was him. Oh.
But
Okay.
he's embarrassed and want to lose his job, want nothing to do with it.
Sure, of
so
course, I understand. You want to be discreet
but
about
she was
this,
going to
sure.
have us come while he's at work or whatever.
Okay.
And but it is God's honest truth. It still shakes me up thinking, when I look back into it. But she calls me. I left my side job. It's 11 o'clock at night. Pulling my driveway. It's about 11:20, and I was listening to the recordings over the phone in my car. She goes, "Dave, listen closely. I could hear a woman moaning his name, and he's screaming bloody murder, like he's being raped and all kind of stuff." It gave me the chills. It kind of freaked me out listening to it, and so I'm standing in my driveway, so I wouldn't lose connection on my phone, and I finished listening to the recordings, and we're talking, and as we're going to start setting up a date and for me getting the address to go over there, I can't even describe it. This voice comes through the phone lines, and she's on her home phone. I'm on my cell phone. I can only describe it if you listen to The Exorcist. That evil, sinister voice coming in and out. And now I'm getting angry. I thought it was her playing a joke on me. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You think this is a joke?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? You don't hear this voice coming in the phone line." And she goes, "No, I hear your phone going in and out, but I don't hear this voice." And then it talked over her and started moaning her husband's name. Now I know it's not her. She goes, I heard that. And now it starts moaning my name, like, "Dave." Really sinister sounding. I'll never forget the laugh. And then the phone lines went dead. And I'm standing there. I'm in shock. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And then I feel like I'm getting choked, like it's 2 fingers stabbing me in the neck where I'm having a hard time breathing. So I reach over, grab my cross that I have over my mirror in the car, and it went away. And she calls back. She goes, "Dave, my home phone won't work anymore. I had to call you back on my cell phone," which she did. And within seconds, his voice, this laugh, sinister laugh, kept on blocking us. I couldn't get any more information. I would talk over her, talk over me, and never got to handle the case. But now that opened my...
So you didn't do the case?
No.
Why did you just not do it? Did it just frighten you too much
Yeah,
to do it?
I think we were on the phone for 40 minutes.
Or you said this is something for somebody bigger than me that can maybe...
Well, I don't know. I mean...
That's what... When I'm listening to the whole story here, I'm thinking, why did she just consult somebody like you, and not that you don't have the know-how to maybe deal with this? I don't want to disrespect
Well, I would have
you.
had to get help.
But why would she just not consult maybe someone from the clergy, like her minister, her priest, or somebody, and say,
I don't know if she ever did or not,
we've
to
got
be
this
honest.
going on here, and is there something you can do about this?
I never got to check it out further. I'm sorry?
Yeah, because the husband didn't want anything to do with it. She was trying to get answers.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
Basically behind his back, and
but now, if I'm understanding the story right, it was him that the sounds were coming from, right?
Yeah, he was screaming bloody murder at times, like he's being raped. And I did hear.
So what was his explanation? Not wanting anything to do with? Oh, it's just not happening.
He wouldn't talk to me.
Up.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
just didn't deny all the whole thing.
Yeah, she would set her cell phone down and record at times when he's having these night terrors, maybe to show the doctor too and stuff. But they couldn't find anything wrong with him.
Did you ever do a follow-up with this woman and find out, did she ever have anything done? Did she just let this go on?
Out of the blue, like 2 years later, she calls me, and she goes, we're still having activity. This voice never came through again. I'd still like you to check out the house. People would come visit family and stuff.
What took her 2 years? If I was having this going on, it would have been 2 hours for me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, she could still tell I was... I was in shock.
I actually thought we were scheduled. We actually had a date scheduled, and within a couple days prior to the date that we were going to do it, she canceled on it.
Yeah, the husband broke his legs or something. It's like something blocked us again, and so he was supposed to go on a fishing trip and be gone for a week or something like that. And like a couple days or so before the trip, he had a bad spill and breaks his legs, and so I never got to do it. And
interesting,
right?
Yeah. Any opinions on this, Rick? You're listening to this, right? Rick?
I'm sorry.
Are you there? Did you listen to this?
Yeah, I'm listening to this.
Any opinions on this? What's your views on any of this?
Well, I did have a question. Were you guys ever able to rule out anything, mental illness, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or any kind of, I know, with you being a police officer, did you think that maybe there was some kind of drug use that was involved?
I not by him, because he would be getting drug tested through work. I mean, I don't want to say his career over the radio because you know, I don't want to get him in trouble or anything.
Well, no, don't mention any names.
This guy,
no.
it would be like me in the field. He would be getting drug tested and I'm sure evaluated by you know, his coworkers and bosses and stuff. So,
but that's what I kind of would lean that way too.
Yeah.
I would have said maybe we need to seek some help of the clergy or some medical help or something.
Right.
Maybe there's something else going on here. Then if they can't do it, then you say, okay, we've got something else here from the other realm that we need to take care of.
Yeah. As for her, I mean, she sounded normal, and I could tell in her voice after she started hearing this voice, she was really freaked out and scared. But yeah, for some reason, it was very hard for her. The husband just wanted nothing to do with it. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's more than enough anecdotal evidence to, you know, to show that spirit possession does occur. But you know, I don't know, Dave. I mean, I've been investigating hauntings since 1991, and I must be doing something wrong, but I've never come across anything like that.
that one,
That's
as
extraordinary.
God as my witness, I tell you, that one almost made me
love
give
that.
it up. That scared me because, you know, to be I know how to handle certain things, but when it comes to that, I mean, last thing I want is something terrible to happen to my, you know, I have a young daughter, my wife.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, something bad to happen. I'd have to definitely get help if I ever handle a case like that. I mean, I want to be able to help people, especially if a family is having a legit crisis like that. And
Right.
I think I've been able to make some connections, actually some recently that when it comes to the church and stuff like that, that will help out. But yeah, that one terrified me. I couldn't sleep for 2 days.
Yeah, that is that's some bad news there.
Okay, so
Man.
I didn't even know if that was possible. If someone could come through the phone lines like that, you know, whatever it is, it's strong.
okay, now end
Yeah.
result of the thing. This has been a couple of years lapse in time here. Anything ever been done about this? You stay in contact with this one? Nothing?
No.
Nothing.
Maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
Well,
Maybe
I
that
don't
one
know,
would've-
though, but see, now, this is such a case like this, I think I would have done some follow-up on it and said, did you have seek professional help with this, seek help with the clergy, you know, take this to some other level? What did you do? Did you just decide, well, we're going to live with this and that's it, or what, you know? How did this work?
We
Or
don't
did they
let
move? or did they move and maybe it stopped when they moved to another location? You know, any one of 1,000 different things.
Right. You know,
But I think if it was this, made this kind of impression on me, I think I would have done some follow-up on it.
Yeah,
Well, we were really looking forward to that investigation. Just
I to be able to document something like that. I mean, if it is legit and
Yeah.
true, I mean, it'd be
Well, now
amazing. but I mean,
you experienced it, you're relating it, and I believe you're sincere, so
Absolutely.
it's legit and true.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
until I see it with my own eyes. I mean,
There was
I know what
no-
I felt and heard with my own ears.
Okay, there you go.
But
Yeah,
it's still
all
it's
right.
hard for me to believe, but
Okay,
I'm like,
well,
holy.
sure. Of course it
holy
is, yeah.
cow,
Mhm.
You know, yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
one.
you're sincere with it.
First time in my life, I admit.
It's
that's
kind of
freaked me
spooked you.
out, yeah.
No pun intended, but it did. Yeah.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, it's already the hour has come. We run a little bit past the 8 o'clock hour here, but that's okay. This has been interesting. My goodness, Rick, thank you so much, sir, for coming on. It was
thanks for
a
having
pleasure. Absolutely, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. My goodness, the
Well,
invitation
thank you guys,
stays invitation stays open to you as well as everybody else I've ever had on this show. Anytime you want to come back on again, you're welcome to. You just say the word. Anytime you want to give us a call here, you please feel free to come on anytime you'd like to. It'd be nice to meet you sometime in person too. I know you live a little distance away, but it'd be kind of nice to see something else besides just your picture and hear your voice.
Sorry.
So that'd be good. Yeah. So Dave Olson, my gosh, you know you're welcome to come on anytime you
thank
want.
you, I
You're welcome.
appreciate it. It means
Welcome
a
to
lot.
come on. And Matt, nice meeting you, sir.
Thank you. It's nice meeting you
Nice
too.
meeting you, and thank you for
having
coming on. And you, of course, will be on again too. Nobody does this show just once. No, I shouldn't take the credit. I've had some people do it once, but yeah, Dave actually has been with us for a while. When I first started doing the radio shows, I was doing it at WERG Radio over in Argo, and he was with us there. And then we actually had a thing going with the now defunct Caribou Coffees, and we did some shows there. We did some live shows from there, and he was with us there. And then he's also been here. So now this is like 4 times for you.
Yeah, 4, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So my goodness, gentlemen, thank you all so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Bye-bye. Take care, sir.
All right, bye-bye.
Wonderful. Okay, that is about it for tonight. John, okay, we need the send-off music. We put the X-Files on. Okay.
I hear it.
Thank you all so much for listening to Paranormal Radio. It's an absolute joy. Please don't forget to listen to all the other shows on the Windy City Network. Meet Chicago Historians, Down to Sports, Paranormal Radio, that is us, Chicago Junction, armchair experts, wealth and wisdom. Also, too, within a matter of a couple of days, you can go on YouTube, Paranormal Radio, and if you want to just put my last name in, not that I'm trying to get my name out there, but put in Bob, last name Trzeciak, and you can listen to these broadcasts as well as on the Windy City Network, www.windycityhometown.com. Okay, John, send us off.
You have been listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trisek from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich. Paranormal Radio was directed by John DeVita, and our special thanks to radio station manager Kevin Zeflik of WRHS FM Norwich and the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Shikanda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Monday, May the 21st, year 2018. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening. And this is Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM, Norwich, Illinois.